Chosen one. Pause for a moment. Heaven itself has paused for you. This is not an ordinary interruption. This is a divine interruption. Right now, as these words reach you, the voice of God is calling your name. Not a general call, not a call to a crowd, but a call with your exact name carved into it. The sound of heaven has entered your timeline, breaking through the noise of everything else competing for your attention. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not coincidence, it is destiny. You have felt it before, haven't you? The tugging in your spirit that whispers, "You are not like the rest." You walk into rooms and something in the atmosphere shifts. People don't even understand why they react to you the way they do. Some are drawn to you. Others resist you without reason. And yet, deep down, you know it. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. Because you are chosen. Chosen ones often feel the weight of loneliness. You have questioned why life seems harder for you than for others. Why betrayals sting deeper? Why setbacks cute harder? Why silence from heaven sometimes feels unbearable? But today, you must understand, heaven never abandoned you. Every unanswered question, every season of silence, every sleepless night has been part of the divine training ground, shaping you into someone unstoppable. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, declaring that before you were formed in the womb, God knew you and appointed you. This truth is not abstract, it is the reality of your life. That means long before you faced heartbreak, long before you endured trials, long before the world misunderstood you, God had already placed His seal upon you. That seal is why darkness fought you so aggressively. That seal is why you could not die in situations that should have destroyed you. That seal is why you are still standing here right now, breathing, reading, and hearing this message. Pay attention. The call of God is not a background sound. It is a summoning, urgent and specific. Heaven is saying, your time is now. Delay is over. Procrastination must break. You cannot drift through another season pretending you are ordinary. You cannot treat your destiny as casual. This is the moment to rise. And listen carefully. The fact that you are hearing this at this exact time is evidence of divine orchestration. Heaven has pressed pause on everything else just to deliver this word to you. If you were scrolling, if you were distracted, if you were weary, still heaven pierced through and brought you here. That is how valuable you are. That is how urgent this call is. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." This is not poetry, it is your identity. If God has called your name, no demonic scheme, no betrayal, no failure, no shame has the power to cancel that call. They may delay you, but they cannot defeat you. Chosen one. Right now you stand on the edge of two paths. On one path, you continue to live as though you were ordinary, hiding your light, ignoring the whispers of your calling. On the other path, you choose obedience. You choose to respond. You choose to say yes to the divine call that is thundering through your life. One path leads to cycles of emptiness. The other leads to glory beyond imagination. The voice of God thunders even now. Do not waver. Do not doubt. Do not delay. This is divine interruption, the moment when heaven breaks into your ordinary to remind you of your extraordinary purpose. Now, if this word is reaching the depths of your spirit, I want you to respond. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Type 777 in the comments as a prophetic act, declaring, I hear the call, I receive it. I say, yes. This small act in faith is a public seal that you are aligning with heaven's timing. And as you do, I urge you, like this message, share it, and subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to the stream of anointing flowing through every word. Connection matters. Obedience matters. Your response matters. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Beloved, you are not abandoned in the valley. You are escorted. You are not just surviving, you are walking toward your crown. That is why heaven pauses for you today. Do not ignore this divine moment. Comment, Sheba me'ut, Sheba im, v'sheba now. And let heaven see your obedience. Chosen one, you have carried the mark of being different your entire life. Sometimes you felt it as a quiet whisper, other times as a heavy weight. You looked around at others and wondered why they seemed to fit so easily into the flow of this world, while you felt like an outlier, standing at the edge of belonging. You tried to blend in, to cover your light, to act ordinary. Yet no matter how hard you tried, you could not silence what heaven had planted in you. That is because you were never designed for sameness. You were designed for sacred distinction. This distinction is not a curse. It is a seal. It is the evidence that heaven has laid its claim upon you. When you felt misunderstood, when you felt isolated, when even your own family or closest friends could not fully comprehend you, it was not because you were broken or defective. It was because your identity is hidden in God, and only those with spiritual eyes can even begin to perceive the depth of your calling. There were moments you thought something was wrong with you. You asked yourself, why can't I be like everyone else? Why do I see things differently? Why do I feel so much more deeply? But listen carefully. Those questions are not signs of weakness. They are confirmations of chosenness. You carry perception, others do not. You see the cracks in places others think are whole. You feel burdens others dismiss. You notice injustices others overlook. All of this is proof that you carry heaven's lens, not the world's. Chosen one. The world tries to force uniformity. It pressures you to silence your convictions, to dim your passion, to soften your voice, to pretend that your fire is too much. But God's design has never been for you to shrink. God's design is for you to burn so brightly that your very presence testifies of His reality. You are not different by accident. You are different by assignment. The Spirit spoke through the prophet long ago, revealing that God sets apart His vessels for honorable use. That is what you are, a vessel set apart. Set apart does not mean superior, but it does mean consecrated. Your life is not random. Your path is not meaningless. The very detours you thought disqualified you are actually the markings of being chosen. There will be people who mock your seriousness about the things of God. They will call you too intense, too spiritual, too radical. Let them speak, for what they call excessive is actually your obedience. And obedience always sets chosen ones apart from the crowd. You may wonder why rejection followed you so often. Why doors seemed to close where others easily walked in. Why friendships shifted without explanation. Why environments that looked promising suddenly became hostile. Hear this truth. Rejection has been your protection. The mark of being different demanded that God pull you out of spaces that could contaminate your destiny. You thought it was loss, but it was deliverance. You thought it was the end, but it was the guarding of your beginning. And though this distinction has cost you, it will also crown you. Distinction means that when others fade into the background, you will rise as a voice. Distinction means that when compromise becomes the culture, you will stand as the standard. Distinction means that when hearts grow cold, your fire will burn hotter. That is why the battle over your identity has been so fierce, because once you embrace your difference, you become unstoppable, chosen one. You must no longer apologize for who you are. You must no longer minimize your light to comfort those who prefer darkness. You must no longer silence your convictions to fit into spaces that do not honor your spirit. This is your time to stand boldly in your difference. Heaven has called you, and heaven does not make mistakes. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision awaits its appointed time. It speaks of the end. It will not lie. Wait. It will come." This scripture echoes your very life. Your difference is the vision. For years it lingered. For seasons it felt delayed. But heaven promises it will not lie. It will not fail. It will surely manifest. What makes you different is what will open doors. What makes you different is what will bring healing to others. What makes you different is what will confirm that God's hand is on your life. So, walk forward, not in shame, but in holy confidence. Wear your distinction as armor, not as a wound. Understand that the very things that made you feel excluded are the very things that prove you were chosen. And when the time comes, the world will not be able to ignore the light you carry, because heaven will showcase it in its appointed moment. You, chosen one, are not strange. You are sacred. You are not misplaced. You are marked, chosen one. Every tear you have shed has been counted. None of them were wasted. Heaven saw them. Even the ones that fell silently in the middle of the night when no one else noticed. You thought they were signs of weakness, but they were actually sacred offerings. Every cry, every whispered prayer, every broken sigh rose like incense before the throne of God. There were nights you thought you could not endure one more disappointment. Times when betrayal left your heart bleeding. Moments when you carried burdens so heavy that your own body felt exhausted just by waking up. Yet you pressed on, and though you questioned, though you struggled, though you felt abandoned at times, heaven never stopped recording every drop of sorrow. Beloved, this is why you have felt things so deeply. You are not shallow, because shallow hearts cannot carry deep destinies. The reason you feel rejection so intensely is because you were designed to know the weight of love. The reason you wrestle with loneliness is because you were designed to understand the power of divine presence. The reason your tears flow so easily is because your spirit is tender enough to reflect God's compassion. Others may have dismissed your pain. They may have mocked you for being too emotional. They may have told you to just get over it, to move on quickly, to harden yourself. But you could not, because your tears are not weakness, they are prophetic. They are proof that your heart still beats in rhythm with heaven. Every tear has been turned into a seed, seeds that will birth answers, seeds that will unlock promises, seeds that will eventually bloom into joy, though you cannot yet see the harvest. Heaven guarantees that your tears are watering the very ground where your destiny will flourish. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Can you see it? Chosen one. Heaven has a bottle with your name on it, filled with every tear you ever cried. Not one was ignored. Not one was forgotten. Not one was wasted. God's memory of your pain is not to torment you, but to redeem you. For every night you spent weeping, He prepares a morning of rejoicing. For every season you endured in silence, He prepares a season of public restoration. You may wonder why God would allow you to endure so much pain if you are chosen. The answer is this: chosen vessels are forged in the fire of suffering. Tears soften the soil of your spirit so that when joy comes, you will recognize its value. Pain stretches your compassion so that when you meet others in their brokenness, you can embrace them with real understanding. Your suffering was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you into a vessel of power and empathy. Chosen one. Your tears are not only remembered, they are multiplied. Heaven turns them into testimonies that will strengthen others. Your story of survival will ignite faith in the hopeless. Your scars will prove that healing is possible. Your journey will remind others that God truly does not abandon His chosen. But here is what you must do now. You must stop despising your tears. You must stop believing the lie that your pain has no purpose. You must shift your perspective and see that what was breaking you was also building you. You are not fragile, you are refined. And I want you to take a step of faith right now. In the comments, type these 3 words: I am seen. Lane, do you know why this matters? Because for so long you felt invisible. You believed your pain was unnoticed. You convinced yourself no one truly understood. But heaven says otherwise. Declaring "I am seen" is not about convincing God He already sees you. It is about training your own heart to believe the truth. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. When you type those words, you are prophetically agreeing with what heaven has always known. You are breaking the lie of invisibility that has hovered over your life. You are declaring that every tear has meaning, every sorrow has weight, and every wound is being written into a story of redemption. Chosen one, let your tears no longer be hidden. Let them testify. Let them remind you that you carry a tender heart in a hardened world. And know this: the same God who bottles your tears is the God who promises to one day wipe them all away. So we end here. Do not despise your tears. Embrace them as proof that you are alive, chosen, and deeply loved. Heaven sees you. Heaven knows you. Heaven calls your name. And heaven is preparing to turn your tears into triumph. Chosen one. The weight you've survived is the testimony of your resilience. The battles you've walked through were not random accidents, but sacred assignments designed to forge your spirit into unshakable strength. You've carried more than most could imagine. Some would have collapsed under half the pressure you endured. Yet, here you stand. That alone is proof that the hand of God has been upon you. Think back to the seasons when everything seemed to collapse at once. Loss came like waves, crashing one after another. People you trusted turned away. Opportunities you thought were certain dissolved into nothing. You felt the heaviness pressing on your chest, making even breathing feel like labor. Yet you rose again. Even if you rose trembling, even if you rose slowly, still, you rose. Survival was never meant to be glamorous. It was raw, messy, and painful. You may have dragged yourself through days you thought would never end, nights that swallowed you whole. But survival itself is evidence of destiny. If your story was finished, you would not still be here. Your survival announces that there is more written about you that has yet to unfold. Many people look at your life and only see fragments. They do not know the full story of what you've carried. They see the smile, but not the storm behind it. They see your strength, but not the nights you broke in secret. They see your resilience, but not the weight that threatened to crush you. But heaven knows. Heaven saw it all, and heaven honors what you endured. The truth is that survival has trained you for destiny. Heavy weights build strong warriors. You did not simply endure suffering, you were being equipped through it. Every loss stripped away what could not go with you into the next season. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every disappointment deepened your reliance on God. Without realizing it, your survival was your preparation. Chosen one. You must recognize the sacred pattern in your pain. Nothing you went through was wasted. The seasons of isolation refined your focus. The years of waiting stretched your patience. The moments of despair awakened your hunger for God's presence. All of it has been shaping you into a vessel capable of carrying extraordinary purpose. We find in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." You see, your survival is not only your testimony, it is your weapon. When the enemy whispers lies of defeat, you need only remember the countless times you have already overcome. When fear tries to paralyze you, recall the mountains you've already climbed. When discouragement creeps in, remember the valleys you have already crossed. Your past survival is the prophecy of your future victory. Chosen one. Sometimes the heaviest weight is not what you carry in your body, but what you carry in your heart. The broken trust, the unanswered prayers, the wounds left by those who should have protected you. These are invisible weights, but they shape you as much as anything tangible. And yet, even under the crushing heaviness, you kept moving. This endurance has carved into you a strength that cannot be shaken. Do not despise the weight you survived. Do not resent the trials you walked through. One day, you will look back and see clearly what you cannot yet perceive, that every weight was building muscle in your spirit. You are not fragile. You are forged. You are not broken. You are becoming unbreakable. Chosen one. This is the paradox of being chosen. The very things that tried to destroy you are the things that make you unstoppable. The weight that threatened to bury you has become the stone upon which you rise higher. The fire that tried to consume you has become the flame that lights your path. The pain that tried to silence you has become the testimony that will set others free. So walk forward with your head lifted high. Do not let shame define you. Do not let regret cripple you. You survived. And that survival is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a destiny that cannot be undone. You are stronger than you realize. Chosen one. Strong, not because you never broke, but because you broke and still rose again. Strong not because you never cried, but because your tears became seeds of endurance. Strong not because the weight disappeared, but because you learned to carry it until God turned it into glory. Remember this always: survival is not the conclusion, it is the foundation. And from this foundation, God is preparing to build something so great that the very weight you once despised will become the testimony you cherish. Chosen one, darkness knows your light. That is why the battle has been so relentless against you. The resistance you feel is not proof of your weakness, but proof of your power. Shadows do not chase after what is dim, they chase after what glows. The very intensity of the attacks you've faced reveals the brightness of the fire you carry. Consider this: a candle flickering in a small room hardly disturbs the night, but a torch carried across a mountain path makes the darkness scatter. That is you. You were never meant to be a flicker. You were meant to be a torch, burning so brightly that the very presence of your life exposes deception and dismantles lies. This is why the people around you sometimes reacted strangely. Some could not handle your presence. Your very existence unsettled the shadows hiding in their lives. You may have wondered why hostility came from unexpected places. It wasn't because you did something wrong, it was because your light revealed what others tried to hide. Darkness knows your light. That is why temptation tried to lure you. That is why discouragement tried to silence you. That is why fear whispered that you should hide your flame. But listen, your light was never meant to be hidden under a basket. Your light was designed to stand on the hill, to shine in the open, to blaze as a testimony that God still places fire in chosen ones. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." This is your reality. The darkness has tried, but it has not overcome you. Depression tried to swallow you, but your light still flickers. Betrayal tried to silence you, but your voice still rises. Loss tried to bury you, but hope still breathes within. Your survival is not just survival, it is evidence that your flame cannot be extinguished. Beloved, think of your life as a lighthouse on the shore. Ships lost at sea, tossed by storms, search desperately for direction, and when they see your light, they find safety. That is your calling, not simply to shine for yourself, but to guide others through their storms. Your battles have prepared you for this. Your scars are not shameful. They are beams of light pointing others home. Now let me speak to your heart in a different way. Just as a lamp requires oil to keep burning, your spirit requires nourishment to keep glowing. No flame can sustain itself without fuel. That is why connection matters. That is why unity matters. That is why supporting one another in this journey matters. When you choose to like this message, you are adding oil to the flame. When you share it, you are placing that torch into someone else's hands who may be sitting in darkness. When you subscribe, you are saying, "I will keep coming back to refill my lamp so that my fire will not die." And when you give, whether small or great, it is as if you are pouring fresh oil into the vessel, ensuring the light can reach farther than your own hands can carry it. Understand this: it is not about transaction. It is about participation. Just as in ancient days, people brought wood to keep the sacred fire on the altar burning, so too your support, your share, your subscription, your generosity keeps this sacred fire alive for others. Without wood, the altar would have grown cold. Without your partnership, many who need this light may never see it. But hear me clearly, This is not pressure. This is invitation. You are not compelled. You are invited. If your spirit feels stirred, if your heart feels aligned, then participate. Be part of the oil that keeps this light shining into places you may never walk yourself. Some souls may be rescued simply because you chose to keep the flame burning here. Chosen one. Never forget. Your light terrifies the darkness. That is why you must guard it. That is why you must feed it. That is why you must refuse to let it go dim. Your battles have not been wasted. They have revealed just how much your flame matters. So stand tall. Torchbearer, do not shrink back. Shine with boldness, knowing that your very existence dismantles the shadows. And as you shine, remember that you are not alone. Countless others are carrying their flames too. And together we form a blaze, so mighty that darkness trembles at the sight. Like this message, to keep the oil flowing. Share it to pass the torch. Subscribe to remain in this circle of light. And if you are able to give, know that your offering becomes fuel that allows the fire to reach farther shores. Together, we keep the lighthouse shining. Together, we declare the darkness cannot win. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. What is happening right now is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Heaven has stepped into your timeline, interrupting the ordinary flow of your life to remind you that you are marked, called, and chosen. Nothing about this moment is random. Every word you are hearing is strategically woven into your path to awaken what has been sleeping inside you. How many times did you nearly give up? How many times did you wonder if you had lost your way entirely? And yet, at the very edge of surrender, a sudden whisper, a sign, a moment of clarity pulled you back. That was not luck. That was not chance. That was God stepping in at just the right time. Divine interruptions have always preserved you. Think back on your story. You should have been destroyed by the storms you faced. You should have been buried under the weight of despair. You should have been silenced by the betrayals that cut so deep. But you weren't. Something kept pulling you forward. Something kept lifting you out of the pit. That something was someone. Heaven has been fighting for you all along. Chosen one. You need to know that this intervention is not only for your survival, it is for your destiny. The reason heaven interrupts you is because the path you walk cannot be wasted. The calling you carry cannot be lost in distractions. God is too invested in you to let you drift into destruction. That is why your life has had sudden turns, unexpected reroutes, and divine delays. It was never punishment. It was always preservation. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy. Chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. End. Chosen one. Do not overlook the importance of this moment. When heaven intervenes, it means urgency. It means that the timing of your destiny is pressing forward. It means that delay is no longer acceptable. This is not about religion. This is about relationship. God is calling you into alignment with His plan right now. Sometimes divine intervention feels like doors closing. You thought it was rejection, but it was actually redirection. Other times, divine intervention feels like opportunities appearing where none should exist. You thought it was coincidence, but it was actually provision. And still, at times, Divine intervention feels like sudden conviction in your spirit, a nudge, a stirring, a voice that says, "Not here, not now, not like this." That is love. That is protection. That is God stepping in before you cross a line that could cost you everything. Chosen one. Your sensitivity to these interruptions is evidence that you are deeply loved. Heaven does not waste time on the indifferent. Heaven interrupts the chosen. Heaven calls your name when it matters most. Heaven shakes your spirit so that you cannot ignore your destiny. So here is what I want you to do. Right now, declare your awareness of this divine moment. Type the number 444 inches, the comments. This number is not magic, it is a prophetic act. It represents your agreement with heaven's intervention. It is your way of saying, "I see you. Lord, I hear you. I will not miss this moment." When you type it, understand what you are doing. You are breaking patterns of delay. You are declaring that you recognize the divine hand pulling you forward. You are choosing to align yourself with the timing of heaven. 444 is your seal of agreement with the intervention God is placing in your path. Chosen one. I want you to grasp the gravity of this. Heaven has invested too much in you to let you fall into destruction. That is why this word has reached you. That is why your spirit feels stirred, even as you hear it. You were not meant to stumble aimlessly. You were meant to walk in purpose. And every divine interruption is heaven shouting, "Get back in step. Your destiny cannot wait." Oh, let this truth settle in your heart. You are preserved for a reason. Every close call was proof. Every near fall was proof. Every time you thought it was the end, and yet it wasn't, that was proof. Divine intervention has been your unseen shield. And today, it has arrived again, calling you by name. So lift your head. Wipe away the shame of your past. Silence the voice of doubt. Heaven is speaking, and its message is clear. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are chosen. And right now, God is intervening to set your feet back on the path of destiny. Comment 444 below, and let heaven see your response. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Chosen one. You must understand the seriousness of this moment. Divine intervention is not a casual interruption. It is a signal of urgency. You are standing on the edge of a cliff, one step closer to destiny, but also one step away from blindness. That is the tension of chosenness. You are never far from breakthrough, but you are also never far from danger if you harden your heart. One rebellion can close your eyes to what God has been showing you. One act of stubbornness can silence the whispers you once heard so clearly. That is why heaven's voice comes with both comfort and warning. It is not to frighten you, but to awaken you, to remind you that chosenness is not only privilege, it is responsibility. Think about it. You have felt the pull of procrastination. You've heard the call in your spirit and told yourself, "Tomorrow, I'll obey. Tomorrow, I'll change. Tomorrow, I'll respond." But every tomorrow delayed has been another step closer to blindness. The enemy does not need you to deny God outright. He only needs you to delay until your sensitivity grows numb. Delay is the thief of destiny. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." And oh, this question echoes into your life right now. How long will you waver? How long will you linger in hesitation? Caught between obedience and compromise, chosenness demands decision. Destiny requires commitment. You cannot remain in limbo forever. Chosen one. Understand this. Rebellion does not always look like open defiance. Sometimes rebellion looks like ignoring the nudge in your spirit. Sometimes it looks like clinging to what God already asked you to release. Sometimes it looks like staying silent when your voice was meant to rise. Rebellion can wear the mask of comfort, but its fruit is always blindness. You are not called to blindness. You are called to vision. You are not created for confusion. You are created for clarity. That is why the warning comes now, so that you will not step off the cliff unaware. Heaven's mercy still covers you. But mercy is not permission. Mercy is the hand extended to pull you back before it is too late. Think of Samson, a chosen man, born with destiny in his very DNA. But rebellion, repeated, quiet rebellion dulled his vision until he literally lost his eyes. His strength was meant for nations, but compromise led him into chains. The tragedy was not that God abandoned him, but that Samson abandoned his calling until blindness became his reality. This warning is not to condemn you, but to protect you from such a fate. You have too much light to live in darkness. You have too much destiny to waste your life in delay. You have too much anointing to let compromise blind you. Chosen one. Let this settle in your spirit. You are one decision away from clarity, and one decision away from blindness. That is the weight of this moment. Heaven is not playing with your destiny, and neither should you. Do not be deceived by the lie that later is safe. Later hardens hearts. L'attire dule vision. Later steals opportunity. The time is always now. The response is always urgent. The choice is always before you. Chosen one. You are at the cliff's edge, but you are not alone. Heaven has placed guardrails through conviction, through warnings, through this very word you are reading now. If your heart feels the trembling of urgency, that is mercy. That is the Spirit pulling you back from the edge before blindness sets in. So, do not treat conviction lightly. Do not brush aside the stirring in your heart. Do not assume you have unlimited chances. This is a holy moment. Respond with seriousness. Respond with surrender. Respond with the clarity that you are chosen and cannot afford to rebel. If you choose obedience, your vision will sharpen. You will see with eyes of clarity. You will discern with wisdom beyond your years. You will walk paths that others miss, because heaven delights in guiding the obedient. But if you resist, the danger is real. The light that once felt so bright could dim until your spirit grows blind to what is holy. Chosen one, let your decision be made now, not tomorrow. Let your heart lean into obedience, not hesitation. Let your spirit be sharpened, not dulled. You are chosen, and with chosenness comes the responsibility to walk carefully, to listen closely, and to respond immediately. You are not like the rest. You cannot afford blindness. Your light is too precious. Your calling is too costly. Step back from the cliff of rebellion and walk boldly toward the clarity heaven has prepared for you. Chosen one. You have walked through warnings and weight. Yet here is the truth. Mercy still extends. It reaches for you like a river that never dries up, like arms stretched wide that never grow weary. Though rebellion has hovered near, though hesitation has slowed you, the door is not yet closed. The very fact that you feel conviction even now is the proof of God's mercy at work in your life. Conviction is not condemnation. Condemnation crushes and silences. Conviction awakens and restores. Condemnation declares, "You finished." Conviction whispers, "There is still time." If you feel that tug in your spirit, it means heaven is not done with you. It means God's patience still surrounds you. It means the window of grace is still open. Think about how many times you could have drifted too far. How many chances you were given when others around you seemed to fall. How many times you stumbled but were not destroyed. That was mercy. Mercy intercepted you when justice could have declared otherwise. Mercy held you together when despair tried to shatter you. Mercy shielded you when darkness wanted to claim you. The prophet Jeremiah, known as the weeping prophet, once poured out words that echo even now. In the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 22 and 23, he declared, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." ND, chosen one. Every sunrise is evidence of mercy renewed. Every breath you take is proof that God's compassion has not expired. The world may count you out. Your own heart may condemn you. But heaven's mercies rise fresh each morning. That is why you are here, not because you have been flawless, but because you are loved relentlessly. Mercy is patient, but it is not passive. Mercy waits, but it does not wait forever. That is why conviction feels sharper now. It is God's kindness pulling you into alignment before the window narrows. Mercy extends so that you will respond. Mercy stretches wide so that you can step into the grace prepared for you. Chosen one, do not despise this gift. Many mistake mercy for permission. They think delay is safe because mercy remains. But mercy is not a license to linger. It is an invitation to return. It is heaven saying, "Come now, while the way is still open. Do not wait until the door shuts." Then, look back on your life and see how mercy has shaped your journey. That car accident that could have claimed your life, mercy. That relationship that ended when you thought you couldn't survive without it, mercy. That closed door that broke your heart but saved your soul, mercy. Again and again. Mercy has been the quiet force, writing your story when you thought chaos had the pen. Mercy is the thread that has kept you woven into God's plan. Even when your choices threatened to unravel you, mercy is the voice that called you back from paths that would have destroyed you. Mercy is the shield that stood between you and the full consequences of your missteps. Chosen one, if you are still breathing, mercy is still working. Do not underestimate that. Countless people assume they have endless time, but time itself is mercy. Every moment you are given is another chance to turn, another chance to respond, another chance to step fully into the life God has for you. And know this, mercy does not just spare you, it transforms you. When you recognize the weight of mercy, your heart shifts. Gratitude begins to rise. Love deepens. Obedience no longer feels like a burden, but a response of love. You begin to live differently, not because you fear punishment, but because you are overwhelmed by grace. Chosen one, let mercy move you. Let it soften the hard places in your heart. Let it silence the lies that say you are too far gone. Let it lift the shame that whispers you are unworthy. Mercy says otherwise. Mercy says you are redeemable. Mercy says your story is not finished. Mercy says you still have purpose. Do not ignore the gift of conviction. Do not brush aside the stirring that mercy has awakened in you. These are not casual feelings. They are holy signals. They are heaven's way of saying, the door is still open. Walk through it now. No, and when you do, you will find that mercy has not only been following you, it has been waiting to embrace you, to crown you, to restore you, to remind you that, though you wandered, you are still chosen. Chosen one. Heaven has prepared a crown for you. It is not made of gold that fades, nor jewels that lose their brilliance, but of eternal glory that cannot be stolen or destroyed. The crown is proof of your chosenness, a seal of victory over every battle you have endured. But here is the truth. Though the crown is waiting, it does not fall automatically onto your head. You must choose to take it. Your journey has already revealed this pattern. Every step forward has required a decision. Every breakthrough has demanded a choice. To carry your crown is no different. It requires alignment. It requiert se rendre. It requires saying yes to the destiny heaven has placed before you. Too many chosen ones grow weary at the edge of their breakthrough. They survive storms. They endure trials. They even resist temptation, but at the final moment, they hesitate. They let distractions rob them of the crown they were meant to wear. Beloved, do not let that be your story. You have come too far to stop now. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, First Epistle, chapter 9, verse 25. Everyone who competes goes into strict training. They seek a crown that will not last. We seek one eternal. This crown is not temporary. It is not applause from people who will forget tomorrow. It is not the fleeting recognition of the world. It is eternal reward, woven into your very destiny, and the battles you have endured are shaping you to wear it well. Chosen one. Think of your life as a long race. There were stretches where you ran with energy, moments where you stumbled, times you thought you could not go on, but every step, no matter how slow, brought you closer to the finish line. The crown is not only for the swift, it is for the faithful. It is not only for the flawless, it is for those who endured. This is why your obedience matters. Every small act of faithfulness is like a step toward the crown. Every time you chose integrity when compromise was easier, you moved closer. Every time you prayed when despair whispered to quit, you moved closer. Every time you forgave, instead of holding bitterness, you moved closer. Your crown is built from choices like these. But let this sink in. The enemy knows your crown too. That is why the warfare has been so intense. If the enemy cannot steal your light, he will try to steal your focus. If he cannot destroy your calling, he will try to exhaust your endurance. He is not only fighting your present, he is fighting your crown. Chosen one, you cannot allow weariness to rob you. You cannot let discouragement make you set down what heaven is preparing to place upon your head. The crown is not a fantasy. It is a reality already written in the heavens. Your role is to keep moving, to keep choosing, to keep saying yes. Imagine the day you step into the fullness of your destiny. The weight of the battles will suddenly make sense. The tears you cried will be revealed as seeds that watered your path. The scars you carry will shine as marks of survival. And then, heaven places upon you the crown, a sign not only of victory, but of identity. It will declare what has always been true. You are chosen. So, I ask you now to do something small yet powerful. In the comments, type these 3 words: I choose victory. No. Why? Because your crown requires agreement. Declaring, I choose victory, is not just a phrase, it is a prophetic act. It is you aligning your will with heaven's design. It is you refusing to let weariness, distraction, or discouragement rob you of what has already been promised. When you write those words, you are saying to the enemy, you cannot have my crown. You are saying to heaven, I will finish my race. You are reminding yourself that every step forward matters. Chosen one. Never forget, the crown is not for those who were never wounded, but for those who refused to give up even when they bled. The crown is not for those who never stumbled, but for those who rose again after every fall. The crown is not for those who blended into the world, but for those who stood apart, even when it cost them everything. Your journey has been hard. Yes, but it has also been holy. Every battle has been shaping your head to carry what heaven is preparing. Every trial has been molding your spirit to wear glory with humility. Every valley has been preparing you for the mountain of destiny. So, fix your eyes forward. Let your spirit be steady. Refuse to surrender your crown, for it is not only promised, it is waiting. Type it now. I choose victory. Say it with faith. Say it with fire. Say it as a declaration that your crown will not be stolen. Chosen one. Do you realize that even now there is a battle over your very name? Heaven knows it. Hell knows it. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf, and darkness has plotted strategies against you. Why? Because your name is not ordinary. It is tied to assignments, to destinies, to promises that stretch beyond your own lifetime. When heaven calls your name, it echoes through generations. Your obedience will ripple into your children's children. Your yes to God will unlock doors for those who come after you. That is why the enemy tries so hard to cover your name with shame, to bury it under guilt, to silence it with fear. He knows if you rise, others will rise through you. But understand this, your name is already known in heaven's courts. Angels are guarding it, interceding for you even when you feel weak. You may not see the invisible war, but you have felt its pressure, nights when the weight was unbearable, days when you fought battles no one else could see. Yet here you are, still standing. That is evidence that heaven has not allowed your name to be erased. The ancient words recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1, resound, even now, fear not, for I redeem you. I have called you by your name, you are mine. This is the anchor of your identity. God himself declares ownership over your name. That means no betrayal can strip it. No accusation can stain it. No demon can erase it. You belong to the one who created you, redeemed you, and now calls you his own, chosen one. Think of your name like a banner on the battlefield. Armies do not fight over empty cloth. They fight over flags because they represent kingdoms. Your name represents heaven's kingdom. Every spiritual battle that rages around you is not random. It is a tug of war over who gets to raise their banner over your life. But you were never meant to carry the enemy's flag. You were marked to carry heaven's And just like a soldier in battle needs strength and covering, so do you. This is why connection matters. When you like this message, it is as if you are lifting the banner higher, letting your light signal to others in the field. When you share, it is like passing the torch to someone stumbling in the dark, giving them direction when they had none. When you subscribe, you are choosing to remain connected to this stream of strength, ensuring that your flame doesn't flicker alone in the wind. And when you donate, listen carefully. It is not simply giving money. It is like supplying oil for the lamp, arrows for the warrior, and bread for the traveler. It is participation in the unseen battle. Your generosity is not about transaction. It is about transformation. Think of it like this. In the ancient world, watchtowers stood tall, signaling danger to the villages below. But those towers required builders, maintainers, and guards. Without their sacrifice, the people would have been caught unaware. In the same way, this space, this voice speaking to you, is like a watchtower. Every gift, every share, every act of support is a stone placed in the tower, making it stronger, higher, more effective in sounding the alarm for others. Chosen one. Your name is too precious to let it fall to the noise of the world. Heaven is already fighting for you, but heaven also invites you to partner in the battle. You are not a passive spectator. You are a torchbearer, a warrior, a standard bearer whose name carries weight in both realms. Let this truth strengthen you. The battle over your name is fierce, but it is already tilted in your favor. God has written your name in his book, and no enemy can blot it out. Still, your role is to walk in agreement with what has already been declared. You are his. You are redeemed. You are chosen. So, lift your head high. Do not let shame define you. Do not let fear silence you. Do not let weariness erase the fire within you. Your name is sealed, and your destiny is guarded. And as you journey forward, remember, this flame is not only for you. Every like is oil. Every share is a spark. Every subscription is a bond. Every donation is a supply line for the war. Together, we keep the fire burning. Chosen one. The battle over your name will end in victory, not defeat, because heaven has already spoken. You are mine, chosen one. Do you know why the weight of your journey has felt so relentless? It is because you are called to be a torchbearer, not simply to walk in light for yourself, but to carry fire that awakens others. The fire placed in you is not ordinary. It is not a spark that burns out quickly, but a sacred flame entrusted to you by heaven itself. You have felt this fire in moments when your spirit stirred for justice, when your heart broke for those suffering, when you could not ignore the voice of God pressing on your soul. This fire has been your burden and your gift. Burden, because it makes you restless in spaces of compromise. Gift, because it gives you clarity where others live in confusion. Torchbearers are not common. They are rare, for their calling is costly. A torchbearer walks paths others fear. They step into darkness, not to become part of it, but to confront it with fire. And you, chosen one, have been marked for this role. That is why your life has been unusual. That is why the battles have been heavy. That is why the fire inside you refuses to die, even when you tried to smother it. Look back and see the pattern. Every time you thought your light was gone, A flicker returned. Every time you tried to blend into the shadows, something pulled you back to the flame. That is not by accident. The fire in you cannot be extinguished because it is not yours alone, it is heaven's. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old. The book of Leviticus, chapter 6, verse 13 declares, "The fire must be kept burning on the altar continuously, it must not go out." No, this verse is more than ritual instruction. It is a prophetic reflection of your life. The fire on your altar must never go out. Your heart, your spirit, your very existence has been set as a living altar. The flame God placed in you is not meant to flicker only in easy seasons. It is meant to burn through storms, through loneliness, through warfare. Chosen one. This explains why you cannot grow comfortable with mediocrity. You were not created to drift. The fire within you makes compromise unbearable. You can try to silence it, but the torch you carry will not allow you to live halfway. It presses you forward, demands your obedience, and calls you to stand, even when standing costs you everything. Torchbearers often feel misunderstood. Others see your intensity and think you are too much. They cannot understand why you weep for things they ignore, why you speak when they remain silent, why you carry urgency when they prefer ease. But the misunderstanding is confirmation. The fire in you sets you apart. You are not called to blend in. You are called to ignite. Think of runners in a relay race. One runner passes the torch to another, ensuring the flame never dies. That is your calling. You are part of a lineage of chosen ones who carried light before you, and you will pass it to those who come after. You are not isolated. You are linked in a chain of eternal fire. Bearers, your obedience now determines how brightly the flame burns for future generations. Chosen one. Carrying fire is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Fire does not stay lit by accident. It stays lit through tending. The moments you pray, the times you fast, the words you speak in faith, these are logs placed on the fire. And every act of obedience is proof to heaven that the torch has not fallen from your hands. Do not despise the fire's weight, for though it demands much, it also protects much. Fire purifie. Fire illuminates. Fire terrifies the enemy. The reason darkness has opposed you so strongly is because it knows what happens when your fire burns unhindered. Strongholds break. Chains fall. Others awaken. Chosen one. This is the season to embrace fully what you are. A torchbearer. No longer apologizing for your flame. No longer hiding it to comfort those around you. No longer treating it as an inconvenience. The fire is your identity. It is your assignment. It is your inheritance. Let your torch burn high. Let it lead others who are stumbling in the dark. Let it remind you that every trial, every valley, every scar was not wasted. They were all oil for the flame. And as long as you breathe, as long as you choose obedience, that fire will not die. You, chosen one, are not just a survivor. You are a carrier of fire, a torchbearer, a living altar where heaven's flame continues to blaze. And through you, generations, yet unborn, will see light they would never have known. Chosen one, heaven is calling you to take a step of prophetic action right now. This is not a game, not ritual, not empty symbolism. It is alignment. Every time you act in faith, You place yourself in the stream of heaven's movement. This moment is one of those intersections where your obedience in the small will echo into the great. Think of how often God has spoken to his people through signs and symbols. Noah received the sign of a rainbow as proof of covenant. Moses was told to lift his staff so the sea could part. Joshua was instructed to march around Jericho 7 times before the walls fell. The acts themselves were simple, but their obedience unlocked divine outcomes. What mattered was not the physical action alone, but the faith that infused it. Today, heaven is inviting you into such an act. Right here, right now, you are being asked to mark your obedience, to seal your agreement with the call upon your life. This is more than words on a page. This is a divine summons for you to respond. Chosen one. Understand this, you cannot remain neutral. To do nothing is itself a choice. And heaven is too invested in your destiny to let you drift passively. That is why, even now, your spirit feels stirred, awakened, pressed by conviction. That is heaven's hand on you, saying, respond. We find in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13, the voice of God thunders through his servant Moses. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. This scripture is a declaration to your spirit. Fear is the chain that keeps chosen ones from stepping forward. Fear whispers, stay still, stay silent, stay small. But heaven counters, stand firm, do not retreat. You will see deliverance, the crown awaiting you, the destiny calling you, the light burning in you. They all require this moment of standing. And here is how you stand today, by marking your obedience with a prophetic number. Right now, I call you to declare 555 inches, the comments. Why this number? Because it symbolizes grace multiplied, mercy overflowing, and the fullness of divine intervention. 5 has always been a number of grace, and tripled, it becomes a flood. By writing 555, you are declaring, grace covers my past, grace sustains my present, and grace propels my future. Do not treat this lightly. When you type it, you are not merely writing digits, you are aligning your story with heaven's movement. You are saying, I accept the grace given to me. I will not waste it. I will step forward. It is a prophetic seal that you are not only hearing this word, but responding to it. Chosen one. Picture it like this. Heaven has written your name on a scroll, but your response is the ink that confirms it. The invitation is extended, but your obedience signs the covenant. To type 555 is to say, yes, I receive this covering. Yes, I walk in grace. Yes, I will move forward. And remember, your prophetic act is not for God's benefit alone, it is for yours. Heaven already knows your heart. But when you put it into action, you silence doubt. You silence hesitation. You silence fear. You declare out loud and in public what the enemy tried to keep hidden in silence. Chosen one. Do not underestimate how powerful this is. Every great move of God begins with obedience in what seems small. Naaman dipped 7 times in the river. The widow poured oil into jars. The disciples cast their net to the other side. Each act of obedience looked simple, yet unlocked the miraculous. So here is your simple act. Type 555. Do it as a declaration. Do it as a prophecy. Do it as a testimony that you will not shrink back. You will not waste grace. You will not let this moment pass by unnoticed. And as you do, let your heart hear the words of Exodus again. Do not be afraid. Stand firm. You will see deliverance. Chosen one. Grace is flooding your life right now. Grace for the mistakes that haunted you. Grace for the delays that discouraged you. Grace for the calling that still feels bigger than you. Grace is covering you, surrounding you, and propelling you forward. All you must do is receive it and respond. So, act now. Seal it. Declare it. Comment 555 below. And let your obedience align you with heaven's timing. Chosen one. Hear this truth with the weight it deserves. Marked ones do not break. You may bend under the storm. You may stagger under the weight. But you will not shatter. Your chosenness has sealed you with a strength that defies logic. Even when everything around you collapses, there remains something inside you that cannot be destroyed. Think of a tree planted by rivers of living water. The winds may rage, storms may thrash, seasons may change, but its roots go deep. It may lose leaves, it may bear scars from lightning and storm, but it stands. That is you, chosen one, scarred, yes, weathered, yes, but unbroken. There have been moments when you felt certain you would not survive. Nights when pain screamed louder than hope. Days when despair pressed so heavily that even lifting your head seemed impossible. Yet even in those moments, something within you refused to give in completely. That something was not mere willpower, it was the seal of God's hand on your life. The Apostle Paul carried this truth, and his words recorded in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verses 8 and 9, echo into your life. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Unchosen one. This is your reality. Pressed, but not crushed. Struck down, but not destroyed. Why? Because marked ones are preserved. Marked ones are carried. Marked ones are shielded by a strength greater than themselves. You may have scars, but scars are not signs of defeat. Scars are signs of survival. Scars declare that what tried to end you failed. Scars testify that the storm passed, but you remained. Do not despise them, honor them, for they are proof that you are still here, still chosen, still alive in your calling. Marked ones often walk through greater battles than others. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Steel is forged in fire, not comfort. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not ease. You are the same. Your trials have not been evidence of God's absence, but of His investment in you. He allows what others could not survive to come near you, because He has equipped you with resilience that others do not carry. And here is a mystery. Even when you thought you were finished, heaven saw otherwise. When you lay in the ashes, thinking the story was over, heaven whispered, "Rise." When you declared yourself too broken to continue, heaven declared you unbreakable. What you thought was the end became the seed of a new beginning. Chosen one. Your life has carried weights others will never understand. You bore burdens silently, fought battles privately, endured storms that no one applauded you for surviving. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still burning, still walking. This is what it means to be marked. The mark is not only for glory, it is for endurance. Do not measure your worth by how often you fell. Measure it by how often you rose again. Do not define yourself by the wounds you carry. Define yourself by the fact that you refuse to surrender. You may have crawled. You may have limped. You may have stumbled, but you kept moving. That is the victory of the marked ones, persistence in the face of devastation. Your resilience is not just for you. Others will look at your survival and find hope for their own. Your scars will become roadmaps for those walking through similar storms. Your testimony will be fuel for those ready to quit. That is why you could not break, because your story is not only about you. It is about those who will rise, because you rose first. Chosen one. The storms you faced were not signs of weakness. They were signs of significance. The weight of the warfare always matches the weight of the calling. If the storm was great, it is because your destiny is greater. If the attacks were fierce, it is because your light is fierce. So walk with your head lifted high. Even if your body still carries wounds, remember, you are not defined by what tried to break you. You are defined by the fact that you did not break. The seal of God on your life guarantees that no storm, no weapon, nor darkness can erase your chosenness. Marked ones do not break. They endure. They overcome. They rise again. And you, chosen one, are living proof of that truth. Chosen one. There is a sacred exchange written into your destiny glory in exchange for ashes. The very places in your life that have been reduced to dust, the very chapters that seemed ruined beyond repair, are the very places where God is preparing to reveal His greatest beauty. What looks wasted will not be wasted. What looks broken will not remain broken. Heaven has always written resurrection into your story. Ashes are what remain after fire. They are the residue of destruction, the proof that something was consumed. And you know ashes well. You have walked through seasons where dreams turned to dust in your hands. You have seen relationships crumble, opportunities vanish, and plans collapse until nothing but ashes were left. You held them, wondering if this was all that remained of your hope. But, chosen one, ashes are not endings. Ashes are beginnings. In the economy of heaven, ashes are the soil for beauty, the ground where glory grows. What you thought was over is actually where God plants new seeds. The prophet Isaiah recorded this promise in chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. No, this is not poetic comfort, it is a prophetic guarantee. Ashes will not be your conclusion. Joy will rise where mourning sat. Praise will clothe you where despair once weighed heavy. The crown of beauty is not optional, it is promised. Consider the life of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, imprisoned unjustly. His life was a heap of ashes. Yet out of those ashes came a throne in Egypt, a seat of influence that saved nations. The very betrayals that reduced him to dust became the soil for his rise. Your story carries the same pattern. The pits, the prisons, the betrayals, they are ashes. Yes, but they are also preparation. chosen one. It is tempting to hold on to ashes. We cling to what was lost, mourning what should have been, but ashes cannot carry you forward. You cannot build a future out of remains. You must release them so heaven can exchange them for beauty. As long as your hands cling to the dust of yesterday, they cannot receive the crown of tomorrow. There is deep power in surrender. To lay down your ashes at heaven's feet is not to deny your pain, but to entrust it to the one who can transform it. God does not minimize your loss. He redeems it. He does not dismiss your grief. He exchanges it. He does not ignore your despair. He clothes you in praise. Chosen one, the glory awaiting, you will not erase the memory of ashes, but it will redefine them. You will look back and see that what once symbolized devastation has become the foundation of your testimony. You will stand in beauty so radiant that even your scars will shine. The enemy wants you to believe that ashes are your identity, that ruin defines you, that brokenness is all you will ever carry. But the truth is louder. Ashes are only the backdrop for glory. Brokenness is the canvas for beauty. Your life is not ending in dust. It is rising in splendor. And here lies the mystery. Those who carry ashes also carry authority. Because you have walked through devastation, you will walk with compassion. Because you have known loss, you will steward restoration with tenderness. Because you have endured despair, you will carry joy with depth. What you have suffered equips you to comfort others, not with shallow words, but with living proof that ashes can indeed become beauty. Chosen one, prepare yourself for the exchange. Release what no longer serves you. Let go of what has already burned. Open your hands and your heart to the beauty that is coming. It will not look like the past. It will not be a replica of what was lost. It will be new, unexpected, glorious beyond your imagination. Remember this: beauty birthed from ashes is not fragile. It is resilient. It shines with a depth that only comes from fire. It carries authority that only comes from survival. It holds a testimony that only comes from transformation. So, walk forward with courage. Do not fear the remnants of your past. Do not despise the ashes you carry. They are not shame. They are the soil of glory. And soon, very soon, you will see with your own eyes the sacred exchange. Ashes falling away, beauty rising, glory resting on your life like a crown. Chosen one, the time has come for you to realize something vital. You cannot fight this battle alone. The storms surrounding your life are not just natural struggles, they are spiritual wars. And every warrior needs armor. Every torch requires fuel. Every voice needs a place to resound. That is why staying connected, staying equipped, and staying united matters more than ever. You see, the enemy is clever. He does not always attack head-on. Often, he isolates. A lone flame is easier to extinguish than a blazing fire surrounded by many sparks. A single soldier, no matter how brave, cannot hold the line of battle alone. But when others join, when the community stands as one, victory is secured. That is why you must guard your covering. That is why you must remain in the flow of light that feeds your spirit. The Apostle wrote in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24 and 25. Let us consider how to spur one another toward love and good deeds. Do not give up meeting. But encourage. These words are not distant history. They are marching orders for you now. Encouragement, alignment. Covering these are weapons in the hands of the chosen ones. When you remain connected to voices that ignite your faith, your torch does not flicker in the wind. When you share what strengthens you, others, stumbling in the dark, suddenly find their steps again. When you partner in sustaining the flame, you become part of the great blaze that terrifies the night. Chosen one. Let me paint it in pictures you can grasp. When you like this message, it is as if you add another log to the fire, ensuring it burns hotter and brighter. When you share it, you are like a traveler carrying a lantern to a neighboring village, bringing light where it has not yet reached. When you subscribe, you are like a runner returning to the well daily, refusing to let your spirit run dry in a barren land. And when you donate, it is as if you become the supplier of oil that keeps the lamps burning in the temple. Your contribution keeps the light alive for others who desperately need it but cannot find it on their own. Do you see? This is not about transaction, it is about transformation. Every act of connection strengthens the lighthouse we are building together. Think of a lighthouse on a storm-tossed shore. Sailors out at sea are desperate, searching for direction. Without the lighthouse, they will crash upon unseen rocks. But lighthouses cannot shine without care. They require oil, maintenance, and keepers who refuse to let the flame die. You are one of those keepers. By supporting this flame through your engagement, through your generosity, through your participation, you are ensuring that others at sea find their way home. And do not underestimate what seems small. A single ember can start a wildfire. A single drop of oil can keep a lamp burning through the night. A single act of generosity can ripple into eternity. That is the mystery of chosenness. What feels little in your hands becomes great in God's. Chosen one. Even commenting matters. When you write your reflection below, it is as though you carve your testimony into stone for others to read. Someone else, broken and weary, may scroll through and find strength in your words. Never think your voice is too small to make a difference. Your comment may be the spark that lights another's torch. Remember this: no warrior fights alone. No torch burns without oil. No lighthouse shines without keepers. This journey requires us to stand shoulder to shoulder, carrying the flame together. So, beloved chosen one, I invite you now, stand with me in this. Let your like be a log on the fire. Let your share be a lantern to another village. Let your subscription be your daily return to the well. Let your donation be the oil poured into the lamp. And let your comment be your testimony, a carved stone of faith that will strengthen others who come behind you. This is how we remain armored. This is how we push back the night. This is how we declare to the darkness, we are not alone. We are not afraid. We are chosen, and our light will not be extinguished. Lift your torch higher. Together, let us make the blaze so bright that even the farthest corners of the earth will see it and know the chosen ones have risen. Chosen one. Though the weight of your past has been heavy and the battles have been fierce, hear this truth: your best days are still ahead of you. What lies before you will outshine what lies behind. The tears you once cried are being transformed into seeds of harvest. The disappointments that wounded you are becoming stepping stones. The valleys you walked through are preparing you for mountains of glory. You have survived much, but survival was never the end of your story. Survival was the threshold. Now comes thriving. Now comes flourishing. Now comes the fulfillment of promises spoken long before you were born. What has felt like delay is not denial. Heaven has been aligning the pieces, orchestrating the timing, preparing the stage for your emergence. Think of the farmer who plants seed in the soil. For months, nothing seems to happen. Beneath the surface, the seed breaks open. Roots grow downward, unseen by the eye. And then, in its appointed time, the sprout bursts forth into the light. Your life has been the same. Seasons of silence. Seasons where it seemed like nothing was moving, but beneath the surface, roots were forming. And now, the time is near for what has been hidden to be revealed. The ancient words recorded in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, are a promise to your spirit. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper, not harm, to give hope. Future. Chosen one. This is your anchor. The plans of God are not fragile. They are not subject to the failures of your past or the betrayals of others. They are steady, intentional, woven with hope. Your best days are secured not by luck, not by chance, but by design. You may ask, how can my best days be ahead when I have already lost so much? The answer is simple yet profound, because what is coming is not a replacement of what you lost, but a transformation. God does not simply return what was taken, He multiplies. He restores in ways that make the past seem small in comparison. The best days are not a repetition of old joys, but the birth of new glories. Look at Job. His story was one of devastation, so deep it seemed irredeemable. He lost everything: children, wealth, health, dignity. His life turned to ashes. Yet the end of Job's story was greater than the beginning. What was restored was not only double in measure, but deeper in meaning. His best days were not behind him. Though his suffering tried to convince him otherwise, his best days were ahead. And so are yours. Chosen one. The shadows of yesterday may try to haunt you, whispering that your prime is over, that you peaked already, that nothing good remains. Do not believe those lies. Your future carries light brighter than anything you have seen. The hand of God is still writing, and His pen never scribbles endings before the appointed time. Your best days are not defined by ease, but by purpose. They may still carry battles, yes, but battles that end in victory. They may still carry tears, yes, but tears that water gardens of joy. They may still carry scars, yes, but scars that shine as testimonies of grace. The best days are those where your life aligns fully with the reason you were chosen, and that alignment is closer than ever. Chosen one. Prepare your heart. Expansion is coming. Joy is coming. Breakthrough is coming. Not the fragile kind that fades in a moment, but the lasting kind that shifts the entire course of your destiny. The kind that makes you look back and say, it was worth it. Every valley, every tear, every delay, it was all worth it. So do not fix your gaze on the ashes behind you. Lift your eyes to the horizon. See the dawn breaking. Feel the weight of anticipation in your spirit. Heaven has declared it. Your best days are ahead. They are not a distant dream. They are drawing near, even now. Chosen one. Let hope rise again in you. Let faith breathe new strength into your bones. Let expectation wash over your weary heart. The God who sustained you yesterday is the same God preparing glory for your tomorrow. And his promise remains. The path of the righteous shines brighter and brighter until the full light of day. Chosen one. The journey brings you here to the place where all the threads of your story weave into a single truth. You are unstoppable. Unshakable. Unbreakable. The fires did not consume you. The storms did not drown you. The betrayals did not erase you. Everything that rose against you has become testimony that the seal of God on your life cannot be undone. Look at what you have survived. Each valley was meant to bury you, yet you walked through. Each chain was meant to bind you, yet it broke. Each shadow tried to silence you, yet your voice still rises. You are here not by accident, but by divine preservation. You are proof that chosenness cannot be erased by trial. Unstoppable because no weapon formed against you could prosper. You were opposed. Yes, but you endured. Plans were made to trap you. But heaven redirected your steps. You faced closed doors, but you found windows of grace. What others thought would be the end became the beginning of a new chapter. That is what it means to be unstoppable. The forward motion of your destiny cannot be frozen by circumstance. Unshakable because, though the ground beneath you trembled, your roots held firm. You were pressed, but not crushed. You were bewildered, but not abandoned. The storms came, but you were not uprooted. Your faith was tested like a house in the wind, but the foundation held. That is what it means to be unshakable. Your stability comes not from the absence of storms, but from the presence of God as your anchor. Unbreakable, because though life struck you, you did not shatter. Glass fractures under pressure, but diamonds form under it. You are not fragile material. You are refined stone, tested and strengthened in the fire. Brokenness tried to define you, but resilience rewrote your story. That is what it means to be unbreakable. Your essence is stronger than your wounds. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors, through him who loved us." This verse does not say you will avoid battles. It says you will emerge victorious from them. More than conqueror means that you do not just survive. You carry spoils from the war. You carry wisdom, authority, compassion, and testimony that cannot be shaken. You do not walk away empty. You walk away crowned, chosen one. Consider this. When a vessel has been tested by fire and does not crack, it is deemed worthy for greater use. That is you. Heaven has tested you, refined you, and preserved you. Now you are deemed worthy to carry more light, more calling, more influence, more glory. The very trials that threatened to end you have certified you as unbreakable. And here is the wonder. Your unshakable stance is not only for you. Others will look at your endurance and find courage for their own storms. They will see your scars and believe healing is possible. They will watch you stand firm and realize they too can remain unshaken. Your life is not just survival. It is a lighthouse guiding others through their own nights. Unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. These are not just words. They are your new identity. You have been sealed by fire, marked by storms, tested by shadows, and yet chosen still. This is the end of wandering and the beginning of reigning. This is the moment where you accept that you are no longer the victim of your story, but the victor crowned within it. So walk forward with courage. Lift your head high. Let the echoes of your journey remind you that nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Nothing was meaningless. Every pain became purpose. Every loss became seed. Every scar became testimony. And now, every step you take will resound with the truth. You are unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable, chosen one. You have walked through this journey word by word, carrying each truth into the depths of your spirit. Now you stand at the threshold of new days, days where your chosenness will no longer feel like a burden, but like a crown. Heaven has reminded you, you are unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. Nothing in your past can undo the destiny that has been sealed over your life. But remember this, no flame burns alone. Even the strongest fire needs fuel. Even the brightest lighthouse needs its keepers. That is why staying connected matters. When you like this message, it is like adding fresh oil to the lamp. When you share, you become a torchbearer to someone else wandering in the dark, offering them light when they had none. When you subscribe, you are choosing to remain by the well, always returning for fresh water to strengthen your soul. And when you donate, whether small or great, it is as if you are laying wood on the altar, ensuring the fire does not go out for others who are still searching for hope. And do not overlook the power of your own words. When you comment, you carve your testimony in stone. Someone broken may scroll past and read your words. And in that moment, they find courage to stand again. Your voice matters more than you know. Chosen one, lift your torch higher. Let your support, your connection, and your generosity be part of the great blaze heaven is igniting in this generation. Together, we build lighthouses that no storm can extinguish. Together, we declare that the chosen ones have risen, and their light will not go out.